Hi, my name is EJ Massa. Pellet grills are all the rage. So much so that even Weber has gotten into the game with the Weber Smokefire Grill.
However, its early reviews have shown it's got some problems coming out of the gate.
Weber is addressing those issues by setting people hopper inserts and replacement augers and things like that. But you know what? I think I'm gonna wait a couple versions until they get all the kinks worked out, you know?
In the meantime, a company, Spider Grills, sent me the Spider-22 pellet attachment for the Weber 22-inch kettle grill.
I was a little disappointed because I thought they were sending 22 spiders. I really wanted all those spiders. But nope, it's another accessory for the Weber Kettle grill. And believe me, I have more accessories for that thing than the original G.I. Joe doll. So I was very interested to try this device out, especially because I've never tried a pellet grill before. I know, but I think what I like about grills is that there's a simplicity to it. You just throw charcoal in, lit charcoal in, and you cook food. No need to get electricity involved in the situation. It's hard to deny the convenience factor of just turning on your grill like an oven. And to add that to the classic Weber Kettle, my favorite style grill, that iconic grill, that's a no-brainer.
First off, love the box it came in. Nice graphic design. If you have good graphic design, I'll take you way more seriously. Inside you have the included heat deflector, lots of styrofoam, which I'll poison my neighborhood with because it's so windy. The main unit, which has some good heft to it. It's got a stand for the main unit, comes with a drip funnel thing, a temp probe, and some bolts for assembly. And here's a closer look at that deflector plate. The owner's manual is quite helpful. Got some words, pictures, a manual. It's good. This is where you dump the ash from, and it's a little stiff to remove and put back into place. This is where the fire comes from and where the device slides into the grill from the bottom. The door to the pellet hopper has a nice gasket on it, but the door itself has some problems closing all the way. These latches don't quite lock all the way. It does seal completely, but it feels like these latches should lock, but don't. It's probably not a big deal, but this is what's happening on mine. Looking inside and you see the auger that feeds pellets into the fire pot. Here's the Weber Kettle I'm going to use, and ooh, it's been a while since I used it. The pizza grill attachments are still on it from the Pizza Q video. I gotta remove those. And I'm also going to remove the ash catcher system from the bottom. Pops off easily. The setup was fairly easy. You really just bolt it into this stand with the included tourney bolts. The top of the device should be roughly an inch above the lower kettle lip. It took some jostling for a few moments to adjust it into place. The whole process took about 15 minutes. And once I got the height right, I just slid it into place so that the fire hole fits into the bottom vent. And it only took a small amount of dry humping to get it in. That sounded bad.
I'm sure next time I'll put it together with minimal dry humps. Or not, depending on my mood.
And here's the fire hole popping out of the bottom vent. You stick the drip channel into one of the other vents. Then you put in the heat deflector, which connects to this drip channel. The heat deflector slopes down to channel the grease there. Put the grate in, the lid, open the vent all the way, and wow, it looks pretty cool if you ask me.
The Weber 22-inch kettle was my first grill, so there's a little bit of nostalgia to using it. So it's great to be using it in a new way. It's kind of like old video games, right? There's newer games with better technology, better graphics, and they're technically better, but sometimes you just get more enjoyment out of playing those old games. That's what this is.
The instructions say to put a soda can with a tab on this hook to catch the grease, but I made a little grease pail out of an old can and some string. Now it's ready for its maiden voyage. And the meat I chose was this 5.5 pound pork butt. I want to see how set it and forget it this device is. This should be a fairly long cook, and it's windy, it's a cold day out. I'd normally be fiddling with the vents a ton, blocking the wind, but in theory, I should be able to dial in a temp and just let it ride. I seasoned the pork butt with my salt, pepper, and garlic rub, recipe in the description below, and then layered on the Memphis dust rub, making sure to coat all sides. And I actually let that sit in my fridge overnight. Before all the Dick's Sporting Goods stores closed in this country because of the coronavirus, I picked up some lumberjack pellets for $15 a bag. The competition blend and char hickory. And I think I'll try out the char hickory because I think the name sounds cool and it's fun to say. Char hickory. I like that they kind of look charred with a smoky black color. I'll pour them into the hopper, which seems to hold about half a 20-pound bag, give or take. And again, the latches to that door just didn't want to lock all the way for me. But with the gasket there, I'm pretty sure it seals. Time to plug this baby in. It feels so bizarre to plug in a grill.
Look, I know it's not strange to you. You probably already have an electric smoker or a pellet grill. But I do things the natural way. I light my fires the natural way, with a wax cube soaked in chemicals, which in turn lights a fire on compressed sawdust, which is binded together with chemicals, the way God intended.
You set the temperature with this little knob. I set it to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no app for this thing, there's no Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, it's just a knob.
I'm pretty fine with that. I already have enough apps controlling all my stuff. There's so many freaking apps. Make it stop. I almost prefer it. But the knob does only go in 50-degree increments. I kind of wish it was more like 25-degree increments so you can really dial it in. But, you know, I usually cook things at 250 degrees anyway, so maybe it's fine.
The little pellets ignite in the chamber and you can see the flames starting to come out. I added the included probe and my ThermoWorks smoke probe just to see how the temp compares to the built-in one. And again, the instructions say to keep that vent open. So I did, because I closed it and then I opened it. So far the temp on the unit does match the temp on the ThermoWorks smoke, so that's nice. Once it's up to temperature, it's time to put on that beautiful pork butt, making sure to probe it. Close the lid and, I don't know, just let it rip. It was an extremely windy day that I was cooking, and you can see my fat catcher blowing in the wind. I put a pizza stone and a dripping griddle pan under the Weber because I thought the wind was gonna knock it over. Just so you know, don't expect like billowing smoke to come out. Here's a shot of the absence of smoke. This is important.
It does smell woody. It smells like you jammed a bunch of sawdust into a hairdryer and turned it on, but weirdly enough, it's not an unpleasant smell.
Made sure to put a timer on just to see how long this thing would take. So it was extremely windy, which caused the temp to periodically dip down, and you can see the fat just congealed as soon as it dripped out of the cooker because of that wind. Ew, gross. But as the cook went on, the wind died down, it held the temps more steady, and even with the wind blowing, it recovered perfectly.
If I was doing this with charcoal, I'd be out there fiddling with the vents in this wind, trying to maintain the temps. But with this device, it was great that it did all of that work for me.
5 hours later, I wanted to check on it. Hallelujah. Rejoice and be glad. The heavens bless this pork butt on this day. I checked the development of the bark and I wasn't all that impressed, and I wanted to power through the stall, so I cranked it up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit for the remainder of the cook. And again, when the wind died down, it was pretty steady on the temp. And occasionally, it gets a little smoky and a little beautiful. I think I'm gonna cry. Once the internal temp got to 203 degrees Fahrenheit and a total of 9 hours of cooking, I'm rewarded with this wonderful mahogany pork butt. The probe goes through it like butter. Ooh, I'm so excited. I turn it off and it goes through a little shutdown sequence, counting down from 15 minutes. Out of curiosity, I checked how much pellets were left and not bad. 9-hour cook on a windy day at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's still some pellets left. If the cook had gone on any longer, I would have had to add more. You can't argue with these results, folks. Such a wonderful color. I let it rest for like an hour under a tinfoil tent. Then I effortlessly removed the bone. You can see an amazing smoke ring. Then I went to town, pulling it apart. And I'm gonna try this little piece right here. Beautiful bark. You can scratch it, love it. But the important thing is how it tastes. It's much smokier than I thought it would be. It's not quite hickory because I use char hickory, but it does have a nice, just smoky flavor. No, it's good. It's good because it enhances it. It doesn't overpower it, especially with all the seasoning, the nice, the Memphis dust rub. It's really coming through. It's The pepper in my EJ rub is coming through. I really love it, especially because I just sat around all day. I didn't have to tend to no fire. And I got this perfect pork butt, and it's perfectly smoky. What else is there to say? The next day I cleaned the ashes, and yes, that ash canister still took a little bit to wiggle out. And that's what 9 hours of pellet cooking will get you. Lots of ash. And let me say, I got very proficient at removing the grill and then putting it back on. It really doesn't take much effort. And I've already done it a handful of times. Much less humping.
Now, of course, how can I really understand if something's worth getting? How can I truly assess it if I don't cook ribs on it? I can't. It's impossible.
But to mix things up, I got some beef short ribs. Still counts. It's got ribs in the name, right there. Season them simply with my all-purpose rub again and some Montreal steak seasoning. This time I'll be using the competition blend to see if there's any difference.
And you know what? Instead of making sounds with my mouth, my dumb mouth, I'm gonna let slow motion footage and music do the talking. Hit it! Oh, those beef short ribs were so good. Maybe the best I've ever made. I say that a lot, but this is true. And you know what? My wife, who doesn't even like overly smoky things, I know she's married to me, but she humors me. And anyway, she loved how gently smoked these were. And I agree. I think that little smoky flavor complemented the big beefy flavor of these short ribs perfectly. Didn't overpower them. And that competition blend was a little more sweeter than the char hickory, which kind of had a hint of just a charcoal flavor. This added more of a sweetness that I kind of associate with cherry wood. I bet next time if I mix that char hickory with the competition blend, I think that'd be a winner. And I was having so much fun with this thing, I didn't stop there.
I tried the high heat setting, which got the grill over 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and made a pizza with the thing, which turned out nice. And I also tried the smoke setting, which sets the grill to about 175 degrees Fahrenheit, and I made some perfectly smoked jerky.
I definitely saved that jerky for the apocalypse that we're living right now. I definitely didn't eat it all in one sitting. Oh, my tummy. So this was probably the most fun I had reviewing a product for this channel. It's true. I thought that maybe I'd lose some of my masculinity by not tending to a fire, by just turning on a grill. But no, it was really fun. And it turns out it is always fun to cook food outside. And I got to do it with my favorite style of grill with a lot less hassle. So I think this accessory is perfect for the one grill household, you know? They only have the 22-inch kettle grill and they want to buy more attachments for it than a Barbie doll. And you know what? This attachment is like the Barbie dream house or the Barbie dream camper. But I wouldn't know because I didn't play with Barbie dolls. So this is really for those people who are obsessed with accessories for their Weber Kettle, just like me. So maybe the downsides, at least with my unit, was the door was a little flimsy and the ash catcher was really hard to get in and out. But here's the thing, if I bought a Weber 22-inch kettle and this attachment, for that money, for that price, if I bought a pellet grill, I'd expect way more issues. But I totally recommend this device, and I'll be using it on my next 9-hour cook because it's just so easy. Anyways, hey, if you want to hear me just talk and flap my lips about random topics, pop culture, what I'm doing, what I'm cooking, I'm with my co-host, Frankie Frayne, on Patreon. You just donate like $1 and you get a bi-weekly podcast. It's an hour long. We talk about all sorts of stuff. We've been talking a lot about COVID and how we're dealing with COVID lately, but we talk about a lot of things. It's really a fun hang. So all you have to do, contribute $1 on Patreon, you get that. So if that's of any use to you, do that. If not, just subscribe. You get the stuff. It's free. Whatever. Anyways, until next time, bye.